Hi everyone, welcome to this evening's candidate hustings for the role of President and Deputy President for the upcoming Student Leadership Team elections. Just to introduce myself, so I'm Natalie Baker, I'm the current President. So I've been through the election process. Thankfully, I didn't have to do the hustings, um, but I'm just here tonight to help facilitate the session, and we'll go through and meet all the candidates shortly. We do have to let you know that this is also being recorded, so we will make this available for anyone to watch back, so that for those who haven't been able to join and watch live, um, you'll be able to do so. And we will run through sort of how the hustings will work. So we've already had questions submitted. So again, thank you everyone who has submitted those questions for the candidates. This just meant that we allowed them time to prepare, so that it was we're not dropping anyone in it, or we can make sure that all the timings are fair for everyone. For those who are viewing, this isn't it's live in that we're here now, but you won't be able to interact and ask further questions, follow-ups, etc., whilst this session's running. However, what you can do if you want to is on our OU Students Connect, you can converse with the candidates in there, and there's already quite a few different questions and things in there for you to have a look at, and you can see responses, etc. So we will do our best to get us through as many questions as possible. Like I say, it's not been possible to ask all of the questions that we got submitted, because we probably would be here for a very long time. So what we will do is go through each one of the candidates. So we'll start with our president candidates first, and then we will go to our deputy president candidates. What we'll do is each candidate is being given a minute to answer the question. What one of my colleagues, Jazz, will pipe up about with about 10 seconds to spare, and let the candidates know that they need to start wrapping up. Once they have finished their time, we will then mute them and we will move on to the next person. It sounds cruel, but it just ensures that we can allow everyone to have a fair shot at answering the questions. I will go through each candidate. We'll start by going in alphabetical order by surname, similar to how they're laid out on the elections website. And then we'll mix it up a little bit. Thankfully, the staff team have done that for me, so I don't have to do it off the top of my head. But we will aim to keep things running and moving as much as we can. Candidates, like I say, will be brought into this at the time that they have been allotted. They'll then be removed. Well, their microphones will be turned off, and we can move on to the next candidate. Any candidates that don't abide by any of the code of conduct will be removed from the session. I have no doubt that will not be needed this evening, but I do have to make that warning to candidates. If it is easier, rather than having to wait for Jazz for the candidates, please do set your own timer to help with that managing time management. We, again, is a question and answers. So everyone has been given the same questions to be able to prepare their own answers. So we are not looking for a debate, and we're not asking the candidate to respond to any other candidate's answers. It's just answering the questions that we've given. I think I've covered everything in there. But essentially, this is live, and the questions have been pre-submitted. They have been given to the candidates they can to pre-answer, and they will now be given a minute to answer those. Once that's up, that will be their time done. So I will now get started, and I will start with, as I said, the president candidates. So up first we have our first question, which is a very hopefully a nice, easy one for you all to answer as we start. So the first question is, can you please introduce yourself, including what made you want the position and what do you expect to achieve and use your voice for? And our first candidate that we'll come to will be Scarlett.
Hi everyone, I'm Scarlett, a psychology student, a student rep and a student member of Senate. But most important than any of the roles that I do, I'm someone who came to the OU completely isolated. Didn't leave the house for 2 years. That was fun. So I'm disabled neurodivergent. For a long time, my world was just literally me and my laptop and the 3 cats you've probably seen throughout all the campaigning. So I was fully embracing the mad cat lady era. But what changed for me, it wasn't just studying, it was finding people through the community of the Open SEO and realizing that student voices actually can shape things and shape change. Since then, I've thrown myself to creating these spaces for others through things like the Wales Club, the student voice work that I've been doing, and volunteering, because I just didn't want someone to feel as alone as I was starting out. So I'm standing for president because I want to make the SU feel more visible and human and generally supportive and not just something distant. Because this isn't just about studying, it's about belonging. That's me done.
Thank you, Scarlett. And our next candidate is Andrew. And again, Andrew, the same question to yourself. Andrew, are you with us? So I don't know if we want to. Oh, are you there, Andrew?
Hello, everyone. My tardiness.
So just to check, Andrew, did you hear the question when I asked it? Do you need me to ask you again? Did you need me to repeat the question for you, or did you?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first question was to please introduce yourself, including what made you want the position, what do you expect to achieve, and use your voice for.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew, Andrew Clapo. I've been the student council member since 2024. I've studied accounting and finance. And what's made me apply for this role is I've been working alongside the current president for the last 2 years. I've observed what's been happening. I've been at the tables where conversation has been had. And similar to this sort of forum here, I've had the elevator pitches with certain key individual members of the Open University. And I definitely genuinely believe that I can make a difference and making sure that student voice, your voice, is heard at the right places and at the right time. Thank you.
So on the beach.
Yeah. That's where the company that worked for actually started. Yeah, but they had their first office in Long Beach.
Thank you, Andrew. So our next candidate is Terry.
Oh.
Sorry,
Terry. I think you need to unmute yourself. Sorry to interrupt, Natalie.
I need to carry on. The reason I can put it slowly because I want to make a difference for disabled people. in me.
Thank you, Terry. And our next candidate is Kit.
Hi everyone, I'm Kit Bernard, he, him, a disabled queer trans man. I'm chair of Pride and I have too many other rep roles to count. I'm also a level 2 English literature and creative writing student. I wanted to stand for president because I know I can make a difference, that I've already made a difference as chair of Pride. I expect that I will make the Open SU the most inclusive, welcoming and representative that's ever been. I've been nominated for volunteer awards, including Heart of Inclusion and Volunteer of the Year, so I know I can do this already. Presidency will just give me the more power to do so. I'll use my voice to advocate for the full-throated support of our most disadvantaged students and hold the OU to account when it falls short. Again, this is something I already do. Everyone here will make a great president, but nevertheless, I hope I have your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Kit. And our last candidate is Katrina.
Kirsten.
Hello, I'm Katrina Velez, and I've been studying with the Open University for 13 years. I'm now close to completing my master's after doing my law degree. I've done that alongside raising a family, working, and everything that comes with real life. So I genuinely understand what OU students are balancing every day. Alongside my studies, I'm also a chair of a charity where I lead teams, organizations, events, and represent people's voices. So I'm used to listening, making decisions, and making sure things actually happen. That's what made me want to do this role, because I don't just understand students, I've lived this journey for over a decade and have also shown that I can step up and lead. If elected, I want to use my voice to make students feel heard, more connected, and like they truly belong. I've also been a rep with the Open University for the Law and Business School Society.
That's great. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your answers to our first question. I'll move us now to question number 2. So again, this is for the president candidates. So how will you ensure that all students, including those who feel underrepresented, have their voices heard? And we're going to start this time with Katrina again.
I think the most important thing is recognizing that not everyone is easy to speak up. From my own experience as a student over many years, I know how busy and demanding life can be. So engaging has to fit around real life. The OU already has forums which are really valuable, but from my experience, they don't work for every student. So I'd be focused on building on what's already there, creating smaller, more informal ways for students to engage well. That's through more targeted groups, quieter spaces, or opportunities to share views in ways that feel more comfortable. In my role as chair, I have learned that you have to actively go out and listen, not just wait for people to come forward.
10 seconds,
And
Katrina.
often it's quieter voices that need to be heard the most. And just as importantly, making sure students can see that when they do speak, that they lead to real changes and that they're listened to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our next candidate is Kit again.
So one thing I've learned from advocating for disabled and LGBTQIA plus causes is the importance of the principle, nothing about us without us. The first step will be ensuring that I and the wider SLT are reaching out to underrepresented groups. At the same time, I don't want to discount the incredible work done by our existing support groups, and I'll actively engage with them and explore how they can facilitate increased interaction. Lastly, I'll work to make myself as visible a president as possible, creating opportunities for every student who wishes to speak to me. While I understand that there's no casework within the president role, I believe it's valuable to have close links with the wider student body, because I can hardly describe myself as representing them if they don't know who I am. Thank you.
Thank you. And Terry?
Sorry, Terry, I think you're still muted.
I would thank you to that. We are you good by telling them who we are, I am, what I'm able to do for them, and what they want for me, and what we will work all together as a team.
Thank you, Terry. And our next candidate is Andrew again.
Hello. And Nat, can you be cheeky and just repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah, so the question is, how will you ensure that all students, including those who feel underrepresented, have their voices heard?
Good question. So, being part of the student leadership team for the last 2 years, we've done a number of things to make sure that all students are heard. For example, I was with my colleagues who have done a menopause website to help women going through that process. A number of my colleagues have suffered neurodivergence and such situations like that. Even myself, I have a little bit of dyslexia myself, and we've worked hard to make sure that everybody, is heard. There's enough time. There's a lot of dialogue between students and the tutors in understanding, for example, student markers, making sure that tutors understand what the markers mean and it's adhered to. So, for example, when a student calls student support, they know what sort of student that is. Ooh, what was that?
Oh, you got 10 seconds left.
Yes. Yeah. So I will be continuing to champion all the efforts that we've done in the last 2 years and continuing that, and obviously exploring different avenues to make sure that all students are represented from all minorities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. And Scarlett?
Hi. So for me, this starts with recognising that not all students are coming from the same place, especially access students, disabled students, or anyone who feels like they don't quite fit yet. We need to actively show those students that they do belong here and that their voice is just as important and not just something secondary. So that means improving how we connect students too. I'd love to see a fresher, more accessible version of OU Connect, for example, something that actually works for students. A space where you can find people, see updates, update changes to policies or faculty decisions. Those should be on something like a news feed, and even know who your student rep is without having to dig for information to find it. Alongside that, it's about creating multiple ways to be heard and not just formal routes, but informal, safe and accessible spaces, because real inclusion isn't just inviting people in, it's about making sure they feel confident enough to speak once they're there.
Thank you. Thank you, Scarlett.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. that takes us now to question number 3. So again, for our president candidates, we will move on to question number 3. So if elected, what is one thing that you will advocate for to improve student experience here at the OU? And that will go straight to Andrew.
Oh, Andrew, if you're there, you're muted and we can't see you. No.
I'll move on to the next candidate and we'll come back to Andrew. So the next candidate we've got is Terry.
I will make accountability all over the every university, and I will connect students in given ways like I will advocate for students if they're not feeling heard. I will pick up for them. I will get the way out that they can go.
That's great. Thank you. And next candidate is Katrina.
Hello. So for me, the biggest thing is connecting and belonging, because over my 13 years in the OU and now nearly completing my master's, I've seen how easy it is to feel like you're doing everything on your own, even though you're a part of a huge university. And when people feel disconnected, it affects confidence, motivation, and whether they keep going. So I would focus on making it easier for students to connect, making communities more visible, and making sure support is easily to find. Because when students feel part of something, they do better. And my experience as being chair already in a charity, I know what the fundamentals are and what it is to be a part of that, but also to lead, and know that there's so many different people and they have all different learning needs, and everybody can help with coming together.
Katrina.
So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. And our next candidate is Kit.
So one issue that I mentioned in my manifesto, which is only grown more pressing during my time at the OU, has been the difficulties being faced by disabled students. Given that any of us can become disabled at any point, this is something that should worry us all. Numerous disabled students have experienced barriers to their learning because the policy of reasonable adjustments has not been put into practice. I have personally experienced being assigned tutors who view disability profiles as optional, making their own judgments on whether these adjustments are justified. And it can even be a struggle for disabled students to have their needs accurately reflected in their disability profile, as the student support team has final say on what is recorded and required. Disabled students are being forced to advocate for their needs and justify our very existence. DSG does absolutely fantastic work in supporting our disabled students, but more needs to be done so that the work doesn't all fall on them. The OU is failing these students, and we need to listen to what they're telling us, and then we need to take action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kit. And next is Scarlett.
So if I had to focus on one thing, it'd be strengthening connection, like everyone says, between students and the SU, making it feel more open, visible and responsive. One idea I'd like to introduce is a monthly question time, a dedicated hour where students can directly ask the President or Deputy President anything with no barriers, no filters, just honest conversation. Alongside that, I'd love to work with a new Belonging and Opportunity Officer, which is a new role, which I think is a great idea, and collaborate with the BAME, LGBTQIA and disabled reps to create more meaningful spaces for them, not just events, but real conversations and mental health support that actually reflect students' needs. And importantly, using these spaces to gather input and feed directly into things like the OU Ready section, which everyone starts when they start at the university. There should be something in there that shows students a better, clearer, more supported experience. Because when students feel heard early on, it changes everything about how they experience the university. So we should be focusing on that and access students straight away. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett. So we will go back and just try see if Andrew is back with us. Andrew, can you hear us? Hello, Andrew. No, I think we might have lost Andrew. So what I will do is I will move on to the fourth, and you'll all be pleased to know your final question for the president candidates. And the question is, what will you do to improve the sense of community and belonging for students at the Open University, particularly for those who feel isolated or disconnected? And that goes to Terry.
Oh, sorry, Terry, you're muted again.
I will go and make more babies for all students who have come to me. If they got any problem, I can have an hour with any student. I will make a bed for any student can come to me. If they got any problem, and I would get in it like mental health problem, I would. But maybe do I go anybody can go out myself.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. So next on my list is Andrew, but he has managed to make contact today. He's having some technical difficulties, so we will try and come back to him before the end. And I will move now to Scarlett.
Hi. So I know what it feels like to be completely disconnected when studying, and I also know how powerful it is when things change. For me, belonging isn't about big polished events, it's about creating spaces where people feel comfortable enough to show up, very similar to how the Pride and the Wales Club have done with their study sessions. They have been really reflected just how much of an impact it can have. That's why things like informal study rooms work so well. It's just no pressure, cameras off, you can just do what you want and get things done with your TMAs. I'd build on that by supporting more community-led spaces, just working with the belonging and opportunity role again, and making sure students know what's actually available to them. Because we can have the best opportunities in the world, but if students don't see them or don't feel confident joining, they just don't work. So community isn't just about activity, it's about connection. And when we get that right, then everything else will follow. So that's what I would say to that question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett. And Katrina?
Hi, yes. I think improving community and belonging starts with making connections feel simple and natural, not something extra students have to go out and find the way. From my own journey, I know how much even small moments of connection can change how we feel as a student. But I just want to add on that as well, actually, is I don't want to just represent one community. I want to be there and represent all students and listen to everyone. I would actively go out and listen to as many different voices and ask people what their views are of change. But importantly, being the president is communication myself and how to listen and how to convey that to other people and being able to stand for the students in a reputable
10
way where
seconds,
I'm
Katrina.
listened to. So I feel that my role is to listen to everyone, not just a community. Even though I'm part of different communities, I feel that it needs to be a wider, so I can listen to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Kit.
So you don't need me to tell you that students are going through a mental health crisis now, with loneliness and disconnection highlighted as a main culprit. I'm a big believer in the principle that if you don't see something that you want in the world, you should consider building it yourself. I did that with the OU Transgender group, which started as just one or two lonely souls and has grown into a thriving community made up of some of my best friends. And I'll take the lessons that I learned there and with pride and apply them to my role as president, seeking to create community spaces where I can and improve the awareness of the ones that already exist. We have so many amazing support groups, societies, and clubs. Like, I'm personally a member of too many to count. I want others to feel that connection too. This isn't something that can just be done by one person. A community can only be built if its members are willing to do the work.
Seconds, Kit.
And I know that I can count on all of the people here today to help if I'm elected. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, Kit. And all of our president candidates, well, apart from Andrew for getting back, can now take a break. We have come to the end of your questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to engage with them, to prepare your answers. And yeah, good luck. So now that we've gone through our president candidates, we will move over to our deputy president candidates. We will follow the same format. So again, I will ask the question and then we will move on to each candidate in turn. They will then be given a minute to answer, and then once their time's up, we'll move on to the next candidate. So the questions are the same, but obviously I'll repeat them because I don't expect you to have all remembered them. So starting with our first question. Please introduce yourself, including what made you want this position and what do you expect to achieve and use your voice for. And our first candidate up is Kingsley.
Oh, sorry, Kingsley, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. Is it okay now?
Yeah, all good now. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kingsley Amoafo. I'm a PhD candidate in artificial intelligence in Milton Keynes. I understand student voice as how students think, what their experience is, and what they want to see in their academic journey. And so when I'm elected, one thing I'll do is that I'll make sure that we incorporate the ideas and what students want in the academic journey as key components of decision-making process in a university, just so that we make decisions that ensures that every student is okay and has a smooth academic transition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next candidate is Dan.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Dan Butler. I'm running to be a deputy president because I really care about genuine, accountable representation. I've had some really bad experiences in education in the past. I won't get into them now. but that's really driven me to make things better for other people. If I'm elected, I'll use this role to ensure that every student feels heard, valued, and like they truly belong. For me, it's mostly about making sure that nobody feels overlooked and that student voices actually lead to meaningful change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And our next candidate is Jack.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Jack Frowdy. I'm the current faculty rep to Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and I'm running for deputy president. So I joined the student leadership team 3 years ago, and it was one of the best decisions of my life. It has changed my life, corrected it in so many various ways. And based on these last 3 years, I feel like I have the experience, the dedication to work with the future elected leaders of the student leadership team to ensure that we get things done. I have the relationships, I have the contacts within the Open University that we can get some stuff done. And feel like, as I said, the candidate with the experience, and I want to work with my fellow student reps, my fellow student leaders, and every other student who puts forth a way to save the university. And I will work on their thoughts. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. And our next candidate is Harry.
Hi, I'm Harry, and I'm standing because I believe every student deserves to feel supported, represented, and reminded that they are capable of more than they realise. I know the reality of Open University life. It's not always tidy desks and perfect routines. More often, it's assignments squeezed between work shifts, family responsibilities, and late nights. I began my journey focusing on surviving each deadline. I didn't discover the union until my second year. Until then, I felt disconnected from the wider community. But after that, everything changed. I found friendship, encouragement, confidence, and some of the best people I ever thought possible. I want to use my voice for students who feel invisible, overwhelmed, or unheard. I want to help create a university experience where well-being matters, where students know where to turn when things get tough, and where no one feels like they have to succeed alone. Every student should feel proud of themselves, proud of their journey, and proud to be part of a community, because OU students do incredible things every single day, even if we sometimes do it wearing pajamas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And finally, Kirsten.
Hello, my name is Kirsten Monroe, and I'm standing for deputy president for the Student Voice. I'm a STEM student. I also work as a carer, so I've seen the kind of hardships and troubles that people who are disabled, that people who are neurodivergent face on a daily basis. And I've also worked in various local projects to kind of help different groups, those with mental illness, those who have medical issues like endometriosis, and basically just to try and make society better, as well as environment groups as well, to help pass different things to help make society better. So I feel I have the experience and the compassion in order to become a member of this wonderful, electoral body. And
seconds, Kirsten.
Thank you. And so I'm passionate about accessibility, helping students who need it get the resources they need, the materials they need, and be a voice for everyone, mature students, those with disabilities, those who are.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'll move us over now to question number 2. So how will you ensure that all students, including those who feel underrepresented, have their voices heard? And for this one, we'll go back to Kirsten.
Hello again. So in order to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, aside from, going around and talking to students and, relaying the feedback to the various departments and the various heads, I think one of the things I want to do is I want to show through the ideas I've proposed that everybody's voice matters, whether you're disabled, whether you're a mature student. One of the ways I would do that is I would have monthly meetups in different regions with students from that region to tackle the isolation that they're facing. And for you know, other issues, I would refer to the president, obviously. And before I can make any sort of decision, I would refer to their guidance. And, you know, I would also petition the relevant teams. I'd work with reps for disability groups, I'd work with reps for the other student-led groups.
Thank you, Kirsten. That's your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Harry?
I would make sure we listen not only to the loudest voices, but also to the quietest ones. Too often, the students facing the bigger struggles are the least likely to speak up. They may be dealing with poor mental health, caring responsibilities, disability, financial pressure, loneliness, or simply feeling like their opinion will not matter. Silence does not mean students are fine. Sometimes it means they are carrying enough already. I would actively reach out through surveys, student groups, forums, and direct conversation to hear from those who are often missing from the room. I would collaborate closely with underrepresented communities and ensure barriers to engagement are understood and challenged. But listening is only meaningful when it leads to change. I would push for transparency so students can clearly see how their feedback has influenced decisions. No one wants to pour their heart into a survey only for it to disappear into the same mysterious void as missing socks. Every student deserves to know their voice has value, especially those who have spent too long feeling invisible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. And Jack?
Perfect. I'll be working with, over 100 student reps, working with all the faculty reps and other student leadership, and kind of making sure I hear from them and where they hear from the students, but also opening up more personal, direct connections as deputy president, and hopefully whoever becomes president is. When I started this role as Fast Rep 3 years ago, I started Fast Connect, a chance for students to come monthly to talk to me and talk to guest speakers. I've had the executive dean of FAST, I've had head of schools, directors of teaching on these calls, hearing directly from students and having that feedback group grows. As some people have reported out, consultations only go so far. It's for senior leadership to hear directly from students and take, and also hear directly from student reps too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. And Dan?
So my main thing is that I would be aiming to make it easier for students to speak up in as many ways as possible, rather than just the, typical having to tell somebody what you're feeling. I feel a certain amount of anonymity is possibly a good way to go. So for instance, anonymous surveys that are specific to the module that you're on and the lecture that you've been on, that could give people, it's a great way of ensuring that everybody has a chance to speak up, but it protects their identity if they're anxious about, they don't want to necessarily put their name to it if they have a complaint about something. And then I'd like to work closely with diverse student groups and ensure that real representation in decision-making spaces is there. And then I suppose it's acting on feedback and showing students that they've been heard. When people feel safe, included, and see real change, they're far more likely to share their voice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And Kingsley?
Oh, I'm afraid you're muted again, Kingsley.
Thank you. So looking at the candidate list, we had about 18 students representing diverse groups of people, meaning that we have, for any challenge that a student may be facing, we have somebody that they can talk to as a head. So I believe that we have to ensure that every student is heard, we need to encourage that students know their reps and communicate with them. Also, we need to ensure that these reps are involved in decision-making process, such that any decision that will be taken, we include the reps as part of the evaluation policy evaluators to see how those policies will impact people inside their care or in their group. And I'm sure that once people see that their suggestions are being implemented in decision making, they will feel that they are ahead more than not seeing their actions worked upon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll move over to question number 3 now. So if elected, what is one thing you will advocate for to improve student experience here at the OU? And we'll start with Jack.
Perfect. I should be honest, I should be working on a TMA right now. It's due in a few days, but I'm here. And I want to kind of use this as a way is improve assessments and to improve the number of various different assessments. I love writing essays. I'm one of the freaks that actually loves writing essays, but it's not suitable for certain types of students. Neurodiverse students have difficulties with it, and just expanding the range of assessments. And I've been on working groups across the OU looking at various things. I want to put pressure, much like we've put pressure at this term on changing certain things within the OU, such as the academic experience, the student support, having more support for neurodiversity. I really want to make this assessments a big part of the next 2 years is to have students not just write so many essays over and over again and have more diverse range of things that they can actually use for career development, for personal life, or, just for fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. And Kirsten?
So one area I'd like to advocate for is improving the exam experience. Many students find remote invigilation stressful or inaccessible, especially neurodivergent people. I'd like to explore with the university, of course, the option of partnering with local universities so that OU students could sit exams in the halls a couple of days before their own schedules. And I think that would give students a secure in-person alternative while still keeping online exams available for those who prefer them. My focus is on choice and reducing unnecessary stress because, let's face it, exams are stressful in their nature, so you shouldn't have to have additional stresses on top of that. So I like the idea that people have more choice, and if I am elected VP, I'll make that a priority because I understand from personal experience how stressful exams can feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsten. And Dan?
Okay, so one thing that I would like to do to improve the student experience would be to offer a higher level of clarity about what's on offer to other students and ensure that events can be done in a less formal way if that's what people would like to do. So in my experience, joining lengthy sessions where you have to commit to a certain amount of time and cameras and microphones have to be on can be really daunting. And often in some cases, it's just too much effort for some people. They don't have the time to do that. But when you keep things lighthearted and casual, you're more likely to see that kind of engagement from people, even if there's only dropping in for 20 minutes with the camera and microphone off to listen in. That session could then encourage that individual to make the time to be a bigger part of it next time. So I think that keeping things lighthearted, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And Kingsley?
Okay, thank you very much. One thing I would like to do when I am elected is to improve the visibility of the OpenSU because I feel like the OpenSU has a lot to offer, but visibility and engagement is limited. For instance, if you look at the website, we have a lot of communities, but few engagements. And I think mostly because people are not aware. So one thing that we could do is to improve the visibility. We can make it a very key component of induction, during the induction and during the semester. We can also, for instance, make flyers, welcome back to school and all those ones to make the student union more visible to people and also promotes the groups that are doing well on our media platforms and all that to encourage engagement. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Harry?
Hi. One thing I would advocate for is meaningful mental health support that truly reflects the reality of the open university life. OU students are some of the most determined people you will ever meet. We're balancing work shifts, family responsibilities, caring roles, health conditions, and deadlines that often arrive when life is already overwhelming. Many of us study late at night, powered by caffeine and occasional panic. Mental health support can feel hidden, complicated to access, or only visible when someone has already reached breaking point. That's not good enough. Support shouldn't be buried on a web page. It should be clear, compassionate, accessible, and built around the lives students actually live. I would advocate for stronger well-being support, clearer signposts and help, open conversation that challenges stigma, and a culture where students know they do not have to struggle in silence. Because success is not only measured in grades, it's measured in resilience, growth, and knowing you're supported when things get hard. If we care for students' well-being, we do not just help students survive university, we help them thrive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And so we're on to the final question. You'll all be pleased to know. So the final question, question number 4. What will you do to improve the sense of community and belonging for students at the Open University, particularly for those who feel isolated and disconnected? And we will come back to Harry.
As Deputy President, I would work to make sure no student feels forgotten. Isolation can have a huge impact on confidence, motivation, and mental health. It can make students feel like everyone else is coping while they're struggling alone. When someone feels disconnected, even starting one assignment can feel like preparing for a battle. I know that feeling because I've lived it before. I found the Students' Union. That is why I would focus on creating a stronger culture of belonging from day one. More welcoming spaces, smaller low-pressure events, peer support networks, active societies, well-being focused communities, and easier ways for students to meet others who understand their journey. Community is not just a social extra, it's a lifeline. Sometimes one conversation, one friendly message, or one group of people who understand can completely change someone's confidence and well-being. I want every student to know they're not just enrolled here, they belong here, they matter here, and they never have to face this journey alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. And Kingsley?
Sorry, the question again.
Yeah, no problem. So, what will you do to improve the sense of community and belonging for students at the Open University, particularly for those who feel isolated or disconnected?
Okay, thank you very much. I think so far the OU has done a very great job. If you look at the OpenSU website, there are about 23 communities that students can join, but the participation is very low. So I think this could be as a result of visibility and engagement as well. So looking at the large community that we have, I think there is a place for every student, but maybe people are not aware because we have groups based on the sport we are studying. We have groups for students in psychology, students in technology and all that. There are groups of people, but people are not solely aware. So we need to promote what we have. And I think each student will know where they have to be and it would help a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kingsley. And Dan?
So yeah, as I mentioned in my manifesto, I'd really like to look to set up local student-led study groups. It's basically to give people regular opportunities to connect and support each other. And well, overall, I think that would really help people feel less isolated. This would be flexible and inclusive. They would be online, they would be recorded as well as you could attend in person. Well, that is the point of it. But so that they're accessible to everyone. If you can't make it one week, you can still be there online or watch it later in the evening. I work with existing student networks and help to establish and promote them and ensure that there are welcoming spaces that build a genuine sense of community for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Kirsten?
So if I become VP, one of the things that I would do is I would lobby for a bridge the gap program where OU students can spend 3 days at a partner brick and mortar university. And it's all about representation. And this kind of program would enable, students to access research communities, to, have their voice heard at traditional universities whilst representing the university. And I think that that would be a really good way to kind of help bring everyone together, not just OU students, but students from other paths as well. One of the initiatives I talked about in my manifesto was about having like dedicated support for different groups of people. Mature students, thank you. Mature students as well, like having meetups for them. Like when I say mature students, I mean people in their 40s, 50s, 60s and such, and having them be supported. And so those are the kind of initiatives I would do to help bring everybody together,
Thank you,
because we
Kirsty.
are all a team. So thank you.
Thanks, Kirsten. And finally, over to Jack.
Perfect, thank you. I want to see and hear students' passions, and the great part about some of the clubs and societies is I get to see them. I get to see the knitting club, the study club, the Wells club work together, and we need more of that. We need more community belonging across the way, expanding clubs and societies and not limiting them. I don't want to. I essentially want to see the nerds unite. I want to have the most diverse range of opportunities for students. I've hosted Wikipedia edit sessions and I have people attend. And so there's such a great range of student interest that we can kind of continue to build up and also work with the university. The university is quite keen, especially certain faculties, quite keen to kind of expand that, to work with all the communities, to have students feel like they are part of a bigger community and such. And so continue the work that some would have been doing, working with the new VP belonging opportunities. And there's been many suggestions tonight and continue with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. So that concludes our questions for our deputy presidents candidates. You'll all be very pleased to hear, so you can all relax now and take a breather. We will briefly just go over and see if we can reconnect with Andrew Calapo. Andrew, are you here with us? If we can't, what we will do is we'll publish his answers to the last two questions, and then alongside the recording, so you'll have his first two live and then his other two, obviously if he provides them, that is. So I don't think we're gonna get him back, so what I will do instead is give you all your time back. And I just want to thank all of the candidates for joining this evening, for taking the time, one, not just to stand in the elections, but to prepare the answers and to be here. For a reminder, obviously, for everyone watching, please do go onto the elections web pages on the OpenSU website, read through all the manifestos, and very importantly, from Friday the 17th, please do vote. So all of the voting will open for all candidates across all of the roles on the 17th of April. They will close on the 6th of May, and then we will announce the new student leadership team for 26-28 on Friday the 8th of May. Again, keep interacting with the candidates. Our OU Students Connect has got a dedicated space for elections. There's some really great questions and things and answers being given there as well. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to our candidates, and best of luck to everyone who is standing in the elections. Thank you all.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.